Jonathan Isaac is a professional basketball player that you may have seen on the court, but he's so much more. A true American hero, Jonathan Isaac.
Jonathan Judah Isaac, born October 3rd, 1997. Today's feature was the 6th pick in the 2017 NBA Draft and expected to be a pillar for the Orlando Magic in their rebuilding stage. That, or possibly the face of the franchise if he developed into the potential he was seen to have as an amateur. He's 6'11", so of course Kevin Durant player comparisons swarmed in, and deservedly so, seeing as Isaac showed he could put the ball on the floor at his size, shoot from outside, post up, and create for himself at a smaller position like small forward, which he played for the most part in high school. Add to all that, his biggest attribute was his defense and the presence he developed into by his third NBA season, averaging 2.3 blocks a game. That would have been good for top 3 in the league, but he didn't qualify because he hadn't played enough games. Not enough games played has become the story on Jonathan Isaac by 2022, only appearing in 136 games since he entered the league 5, about to be 6 seasons ago. Today, Isaac is most known for his July 31st, 2020 NBA bubble decision not to kneel for the national anthem like everyone else in support of Black Lives Matter. That was heavily criticized, to which he responded by saying, "It's my thought that kneeling or wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt don't go hand in hand with supporting Black lives." It was a stance, no pun intended, that shed a dark light over Isaac that, in my opinion, made him a less attractive asset to an NBA team. This was all made worse when in the next game he tore his ACL and was ruled out for the rest of his best season thus far in the league. Without being on the floor and letting his game defend the backlash and negative sentiments about him, he may have slipped further into a less attractive piece to a franchise. The best ability is availability, and Isaac just hasn't been available enough to justify his top 10 pick so far. That, and when he was, he hasn't exactly wowed the NBA and reached the level expected to by now. He hasn't played in the last 2 full seasons and missed more than half the last season he participated in 2019-20. With political and health baggage, not to mention the Magic filling his void since then, especially with their latest addition Paolo Banchero, who seems to have franchise player written all over him, Isaac just may be a thing of the past. What happened to yet another failed Kevin Durant comparison? Let's talk about it. It's your boy JC Stunted Growth. Let's get it, man.
Y'all ready to keep this thing moving?
Jonathan Isaac is a 6'11" small forward power forward born in the Bronx, New York that played his freshman and sophomore years of high school ball in Naples, Florida before transferring to the International School of Broward in Hollywood, Florida, where he became a star and top 10 recruit. He then spent a post-grad year at IMG. From his freshman year to his final, he grew 6 inches and went from an average high school player to one beginning to receive Kevin Durant comparisons and being recruited by all the major schools in the country. He landed on staying close to home at Florida State after considering entering the 2016 NBA Draft, being he was 1 year removed from high school and qualified. Many believed he would have been a mid-first round pick. Stunt number 1, out for the season. The main story that's not sensationalized or talked about because of controversy about Isaac is that he cannot seem to stay on the floor. In his rookie season, he began the summer league on a high note but was ruled out of the rest of competitions because of a hip injury. On November 11th into that season, he reportedly sprained his ankle and scheduled to only miss 6 to 8 weeks' time, but that turned out to stretch the next 18 games and 46 of the Magic's next 49. He only played 27 games as a rookie for what seemed to be a pretty routine injury. The next season, with Isaac fully healthy, well, enough to play at least 64 games, he showed scratches of his potential, developing into a big that could make plays on his own, move fluidly off pick and rolls, and most importantly, the defender he could become. But in his third year was where things really began to crumble for Isaac. In a New Year game versus the Wizards in 2020, Isaac stole the ball from Bradley Beal and attempted to finish over him at the other end. He collided with Beal and fell to the ground in pain. The result, a left knee sprain and badly bruised bone that ruled him out for the rest of the season. Not long after, the pandemic hit and the season was pushed back into late summer, giving Isaac a chance to heal or at least seem like he was healthy enough to take the floor before another more serious knee injury occurred, this time a torn ACL in the same knee. Probably a result of being rushed or encouraged back too soon, or the fact Isaac, as far as his body, is just another case of a kid that grew too fast and was pushed too hard before he could develop properly into his new stature. Either way, he can't, up to this point, stay on the floor. The 2022-23 NBA season begins in little over a week, and Jonathan Isaac is still recovering from the results of his knee injuries suffered over his career. He's missed the last 2 seasons recovering, and in March of this year, suffered an injury deemed as minor to his hamstring during rehab and hasn't played a game in the preseason. Stunt number 2, I will not stand. As if timing couldn't be any worse for Isaac. Those injuries we spoke about, the major ACL and meniscus tear, came a game after he made the stance per se to not kneel for the playing of the national anthem during the 2020 NBA bubble. In a case of right message but unfortunately the wrong messenger, Isaac received major backlash and slander from the decision. Makes me think though, if LeBron James had made that stand, would the outcome have been the same? No. LeBron would have been praised like the social justice warrior he's made out to be, from tweeting on his bedside couch, watching NBA highlights of upcoming players he may want to add to his team at some point. The thing is, it's not a fault that LeBron has never come close to making the public stance for justice Isaac did, and is he wrong? At some point in life, you will learn that the thing they call freedom of speech isn't exactly free. All it means is go ahead, show us who you really are, we'll let you say it or express it, but the way we handle you after is up to us. The way the public would accept LeBron James is not close to how Isaac has been treated, nor was he exactly the right charismatic person who could explain his decision better. You have to understand that when you work for someone else, especially a company like the NBA and their teams, you give up your freedom of representation. You now represent the NBA. When your beliefs don't align with theirs, that makes you less valuable. In Isaac's case, he alienates a sector of Magic fans who don't understand or agree with his stance, and in business, that's unacceptable. Of course, what his play on the floor becomes can change that, but he can't get healthy enough to play, and trading him is also difficult because teams would rather not deal with the political baggage of Isaac's contrarian ways. He, like Kyrie Irving, also refused to take the vaccine. Stunt number 3, filled his void. And finally, Jonathan Isaac needs to hurry back before Orlando fills the void he left and was expected to fill, but hasn't been around to do so. They just may have at least found their franchise forward in this year's draft in Paolo Banchero, at least offensively. Of course, the new draft pick has yet to play an official game, but looks to be the prototypical NBA star wing in his summer league play and in his demeanor. He moves like a star. Not to mention Cole Anthony looking to take a step forward, Wendell Carter, Okeke, Suggs, Bol, and just about the entire young roster of offensive players looking to prove themselves. Offensively, in a few years, Orlando looks to be just fine. Defensively is really the only void left to fill that Isaac is equipped to. The defensive Mo Bamba is also back and looking to prove his potential, so Isaac has a small gap to squeeze through and limited time, seeing as his extension ends after the 24-25 season, and likely if this continues, no team will take the risk of a potential political hit to the franchise, as well as his deteriorating health at that age. All in all, Jonathan Isaac is a sad case of a prospect rushed into the NBA having only played one college season under his belt, who wasn't developed physically as yet, that also had issues adhering to the views shared by the NBA and its sponsors. Being political is okay, but you can't do that on the employer's platform. They'll find some way to get you out of there. Like Kyrie Irving, if your views are that important to you, then don't work and receive pay from a company that does not share those with you. That's like working a 9-to-5 job, thinking you could tell your boss or coworker things you don't like about them and it'd be fine. Like being vegan but working as a butcher because it pays you good money. It makes no sense if those views mean that much to you. Isaac is still just 24 and can provide a huge defensive help, but for these reasons, his growth is being stunted. Salute, much respect, it's your boy JC Stunted Growth, and I'm out.